Hey guys, Underground Geek here, and for this review I'm going to do Aquaman issue 27. I had to get a digital copy because I couldn't find an actual physical copy of it. The comic book hasn't sold very well, but the last couple of issues have really got my attention. I liked the first couple, and then I liked these couple of issues, 26, 27, mainly because I really like the artist. And the story is really not that great, but the artwork is so good it makes up for it, in my opinion. So, on number 27, we've got Arthur waking up. He's been incapacitated by the enemies here, the villains. And they're like an underground gang of sorts. And they're all people that have super evolved from Atlanteans into deep sea creatures. And so, he wakes up. He's got Cadaver standing in front of him and Crush, and they want to find out some information about him. They want to find out if he's the real Aquaman, because in the last couple of issues he's been deposed from his throne, and this other group has pretty much usurped him and taken control. They've locked everyone else out. Mira can't even get into Atlantis because of a force field. So Arthur's there. Cadaver or whatever his name is using coral to block him into some kind of cage, and they're asking him questions. They want to know if he's the real Arthur or not, because it's been months since he's been deposed. And he's not too forthcoming with the information. He thinks of them as outlaws, which they are. They're basically the underworld of Atlantis. Kind of like Penguin or the Riddler, or people like that in Batman's world. I really like the design, though, and I really like the artwork in this comic book, thanks to all the colors and the way he draws people. The artist, let's see if I can find Stefan Sejic. He does the artwork and the cover, and I think I've seen some of his other stuff. I think I follow him on Twitter. And all of his artwork is very good. And I like the way that he draws female characters, especially, but I also like the way he draws creatures. And he's very good at drawing expressions on the characters in the comic book. Marvel is suffering from that right now, as far as being able to draw expressions on people's faces. They literally look like action figures that you're posing because they have no facial expression. Cough, cough. Riri Williams. Cough, cough. But anyway, so they're trying to get the information out of him, and he won't tell them. So then they let him in on the fact that they're holding his new friend Dolphin in a cage, and they're going to hurt her if he doesn't answer questions. And I got to go back to Dolphin here. I really, really like her design, and I like how even though she's a creature, they made her look beautiful. And it really kind of brings a new dynamic, because what's going to happen between him and her, Arthur and Dolphin, because he is going to marry Mira, and Mira is looking for him right now, and he misses him a lot, and it's kind of got that whole dynamic going on too at the same time. Now, he doesn't answer their questions, so then they tell him that there's actually a giant like dinosaur creature in the cage with her that's going to attack her. So at that point, he uses his powers, but we'll go back to, at the same time, the royal police, the royal army, is looking for an escaped convict, and his name is Volko. And one of the sisters of the widowhood finds him and tells him the situation, and then takes him back to meet the other widowhood group that's kind of been disavowed, kind of disgraced, and sent out. They're not really in the widowhood anymore. And I go back to the expressions. I just love the way, like when she's fighting these two guards and taking them out, I love the expressions on her face. He is so good at drawing these expressions. But anyway, and they see that draws you in. I could just look at their expressions and go from page to page and know kind of what's going on, as opposed to having to read all the dialogue. And that's something hard to do. So then at that point, we cut to Manhattan at Titans Tower, not Teen Titans anymore, they're just Titans. And Mira is trying to talk to Garth, which is an Atlantean as well, to try to see if he will use his magic to help break into the dome that covers Atlantis. And he tells her basically that, he has a bad past with that kind of magic and he doesn't want to use it anymore. I don't know Garth's past. I'm thinking somebody he liked probably got killed thanks to the magic and he doesn't want to use it. But there's some really good artwork here. She keeps pressing him, trying to get him to do it. He says no, and that's all that's done of that so far. But then it cuts back to Dolphin getting attacked by the dinosaur again, and or whatever creature it is. Kind of looks like the Loch Ness monster. And Arthur has to use his telepathy to make the creature stop. And at that point, they know that he is now Arthur Curry because he's the only one that has that ability. So at that point, the jig's up. They're going to take him to a cell and they're going to contact the new king to ransom him. And that's his chance. So then he has the giant creature bust out of the cage, attack the guards, and him and Dolphin run away. At that point, the creature's eating the guards. They have to tell him to stop, and they send Cadaver after Arthur. And he's a really cool character. I kind of like his design. I mean, I could see him walking around Disneyland and people getting pictures with him. I mean, it's a pretty cool design. But they start a really intense battle, which is pretty cool. I like the way they do the designs. I know this is digital art, but it's done very well. So then we cut to the Tower of the Widowhood. They start talking about Volko and his claims that King Arthur is still alive. And that's funny that they say King Arthur because his name is Arthur. And at the same time, they're saying, we need somebody new. We need a new leader. Who could it be? And, of course, they're women, so they're going to be more predisposed to pick a woman. And they pick Mira. So now they're going to go talk to Mira and maybe try to get her to take command and take kingship and become the new queen. And the next issue is going to be called Usurper. So that kind of tells you there's something exciting going on. And that's where the issue ends, pretty much, is with them talking about taking Mira. And, not a whole lot happened this issue. That he got kidnapped, got away, that Mira's talking to Gar, things like that. But I didn't really care because the artwork was so good it made up for it. I think that the person that's doing this artwork, when he gets done, needs to go do Batman, because I just read issue number 29, and it's probably the dullest thing I've ever read. And it was a good story. That's what's so bad. It's just the art and the way that the storyline was done. I was bored 2 pages in. I want Batman kicking butt. I don't want him standing there talking to Riddler and Joker and making negotiations and all this kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. I mean, draw him well. Quit using these 3D models. And let's get some action going, because you've had like 3 issues now of no action. But yeah, let me know what you think about my review. I thought Aquaman number 27 was good. I give it probably like give it a solid 8 out of 10. Hit the like button, hit the notifications button, and thanks for watching my video, guys. Out.